A decision just came down from a judge on Google on antitrust law, and I thought it'd be good first to give a breakdown of antitrust law before I get into the Google stuff. So this is like a history background, what antitrust law is. So antitrust law starts with the whales. So at the very beginning, whales were used to burn oil, how people lighted their lamps at night. That was the main use of oil, and it usually came from sperm whales. So whales were getting hunted left and right before in the 1800s. And then around came a guy from Canada, and he learned how to extract kerosene from coal. And so this is kind of where the first oil boom came from, is instead of hunting whales, we could just get it from oil or kerosene. So then in comes John D Rockefeller, and this is around the Civil War era. And because of the Civil War, oil prices have boomed. They went from about 25 cents a barrel to about $13 a barrel. So he saw the high demand, and what a lot of people were doing at that time in oil, they were just putting a pipe in the ground and taking it out and putting it in barrels and just sending the crude that way. And he saw that there was an advantage for refining that and creating kerosene and creating a refinery. So he and some colleagues, Clarks, got together and made an oil refinery in Pennsylvania. And John D. Rockefeller was a very smart guy, and he understood supply and demand, where money came from, and there were other oil refineries in that area as well. And so he started creating agreements with the railroads and saying, hey, you charge this price for other people, and then you charge this price for us. And when you charge this price for other people, you get a cut. You give us a cut as well. And then also he started. So because of that, he was able to gain control of the supply chain and kick the competitors out and help control prices. And actually, kerosene was being overproduced at that time, but he was able to, because of controlling the supply lines, and he was able to get out competitors, and then also approach competitors and say, hey, look, we're going to steamroll you, so you might as well just join us. And so there were a lot of companies, railroad companies, other companies that kind of joined together and created a trust and kind of put the power of their companies on the lap of Rockefeller and some other individuals. And so they controlled a lot of the supply chain, a lot of the railroads, and then also, so supply chain and controlling railroads, that's like vertical integration in what the term that was created in economics. And then there's vertical expansion, then there's horizontal expansion, and that's buying out your competitors. And so he was doing vertical expansion, and he was, with that, was able to do horizontal expansion and acquire all these companies. And so we acquired a bunch of refineries in Ohio. And that's when everyone just started going crazy, ringing the bells. Newspapers were going after him. Everyone was crying foul. They were concerned about how this huge conglomerate was just growing and growing and growing. And so he started around 1865. So this went along into the 70s, 80s. And then in 1890, that is when the antitrust statute was passed. And that was really based off him and created based off what everyone was seeing. I think it was also because of some unions as well that were doing some antitrust issues. That's kind of the background of where this antitrust law has come from from the Sherman Act. And so eventually what happened is they got nailed under the Sherman Act, and Rockefeller was forced to divest his companies into separate companies, so into ExxonMobil, Conoco, a bunch of other companies. So that's where those baby companies sprang from that original Rockefeller antitrust law. So that's basically antitrust law, where it comes from. So basically the whole thing about antitrust law is we like competition, we like free trade, but we don't like it if someone is kind of, there's a fine line. We like innovation and we like efficiency. And so, yeah, it's not fair for a company that comes up with a great idea and they become efficient at it and they innovate and become better than their competitors. So, the law is not trying to go after those, but they're trying to go after people who play a little bit more dirty, essentially. They create deals that benefit themselves. It's not efficient. It's not, and essentially it's kind of creating those kind of deals. That's actually the term, what cartels mean. You're creating a deal with other companies where you're not competing each other, you're helping facilitate each other. So you're creating these type of cartels, and so cartels can get to the point where it becomes monopolistic. So that's monopoly is. So we don't want companies to come in and take take everything and then be able to control the prices. And the whole purpose is focused on the consumers and to protect the consumers. So that's kind of the history, antitrust law, what it is. Next time I'll go specifically into the statute.